Okay, so you will see all these ICE protests going to happen and happening right now. Um, but you as a Christian woman cannot partake it because Romans 13 tells you that higher powers, which are your councils, governments, ordained governing bodies, are there to rule over you because they ordained of Yah. And if you rebel against them, rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, okay? And being in captivity, um, you have to understand that you have to take your punishment. This is your punishment. Your government is your punishment, and you have to take it. Whatever laws they create, you have to obey by, because you have to obey by the law of the land. I'm going to read you Romans 13, 1 Samuel 15, verse 23, and Deuteronomy 28, curses for disobedience, because it tells you plainly that there will be curses you will have to face if you disobey God, if you do not keep his two covenants of promise. So yeah. So Romans 13. Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of Jehovah. The powers that be are ordained of Jehovah. Whosoever therefore resisteth the power resisteth the ordinance of God of Jehovah, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. So if you resist your government by rebelling against it, by going on these protests, it doesn't even matter what it is. But if there is a law, your government signed, you go to protest against it, you protest against Yah, because Yah ordained this punishment to be on us. Okay, Christian women, be mindful of that, not to do it. For rulers are not a terror to good works, right? They are not a terror to those who do and keep covenants, who serve Yah, right? But we have to face the punishment because of people breaking covenants, right? People who the church is supposed to teach people to keep covenants and they didn't. How many churches you have in the world? And if they only taught the people the covenants and taught the people to love their neighbor as themselves, we wouldn't have mayhem. This earth wouldn't look the way it is. There wouldn't be so many crimes. People wouldn't kill each other. People wouldn't steal from each other because they would know that they're not supposed to do that, and they would rebuke others when they would see them doing it. So church failed big time, like big time. And you, as a woman who says as Christian, who profess faith, you cannot go rebel against the government, because it's as if you rebelled against Jehovah himself, and he will punish you for that. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil. Will thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, right? Keep the covenants and love your neighbor as yourself. Leviticus 19, verse 17. Do not hate your brother in your heart, but judge righteous judgment. And in any wise, rebuke your neighbor, right? By keeping covenants yourself. Do not be hypocrite in judgment. Judge not lest you be judged, because with what judgment you judge, you will be judged. So you must keep covenants first in order to go and rebuke others. And for women, rules for rebuke apply. You cannot rebuke a man. You can only ask him questions and show him verses from the Bible. For he is the minister of Jehovah to thee for good. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid, for he beareth not the sword in vain, right? For he is the minister of Jehovah, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. Wherefore ye must needs be subject, not only for wrath, but also for conscience sake. For this cause pay ye tribute also, for they are Jehovah's ministers, attending continually upon this very thing. Render therefore to all their dues, tribute to whom tribute is due, custom to whom custom, fear to whom fear, honor to whom honor. No man, anything but love one another, rebuke one another, right? For he that loveth one another hath fulfilled the law. For this, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness, thou shalt not covet. Right? Love your neighbor, rebuke them. Don't do all these things, but rebuke your neighbor when you see them sin. Once you keep covenant yourself, and if there be any commandment, it is briefly comprehend in this saying, namely, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Leviticus 19 verses 15 through 18. Love worketh no ill to his neighbor, therefore love is the fulfilling of the law. Okay. 1 Samuel 15 verse 23. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Because thou hast rejected the word of Jehovah, he hath also rejected thee from being king. So this is Deuteronomy 28. If you go to the chapter, you will see blessings for obedience and cursing for disobedience, okay? Verse 15, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Jehovah thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that the curses shall come upon you, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee, right? You're gonna be cursed in the city, cursed in the field, cursed be thy basket and thy store, cursed be thy fruit of the body and the fruit of thy land, and the increase of thy kine and the flocks of thy sheep. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke in all that thou settest thine hand, unto for to do, until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly because of wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me. Okay? So if you go to this chapter, I cannot read this chapter because my son woke up. But if you read this chapter, you will see a lot of curses that people will have to face for disobeying, for not keeping covenants, for not keeping 10 commandments, for eating unclean flesh, for not loving their neighbor as themselves. Okay?